Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of CampusCare EdTalks. EdTalks is a platform where educators and leaders come on board and express their viewpoints related to education and society. Our topic for the discussion is how can schools help the teachers to avoid burnout and to express their viewpoints on the same. We have with us Dr. Sangeeta Bhatia, ma'am, principal of KIIT World School, Delhi. A very warm welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Meg.
How are you doing, ma'am? It's so good to have you here.
I'm doing great, Mehak, and it's always a joy to stay connected with all the endeavors of NTAP.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So let's start off with the session, ma'am, shall we?
Oh, yes, please go ahead, Mehak.
So, ma'am, firstly, when we talk about, how to avoid burnout among teachers, so what do how do you explain burnout and what do you think, what causes it?
Mehak, I think the burnout, as I see, is when your body, mind, and your soul aren't aligned to be at the workplace with as much enthusiasm as you would want to. When you enter the campus, whether we have a spring in our feet or we are dreading going in, defines whether I'm burnt out or I'm happy walking in. So to me, it's very, very important that each one of us, whenever we come to work, there should be an element of looking forward to movement. And that's what I say is not a burnt out person. And if it's not so, then I feel my team may be showing the earlier symptoms of burnout if they are not happy coming. Then, second way I look at burnout is when people feel the need to stay away from work, to stay away from work and feel more comfortable being in something, doing something else. And these are symptoms of burnout, must I say. But looking forward to go to workplace is what I call not a burnt out person.
Yeah. And ma'am, what do you think? What causes it, among the teachers and the educators?
I would say not being aligned with vision
Yeah.
of the organization can be one major cause. When you're walking in one direction and you have certain goals set as your priorities, which may not be the priority of the team member, and when you're not in resonance with each other,
Yeah.
or when you feel the workload that you perceive and the workload other team perceives is likely to be a, a trigger,
Yeah.
you know, that may cause burnout. Yeah.
Thank you so
And
much, ma'am. Yeah. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Mehak, I also feel sometimes, we have set the bar very high,
Yeah.
especially when the teachers were working in confines of the classrooms and they were kind of masters of the situation. Come COVID, and teachers were under a micro scanner. And there were parents who were micromanaging a teacher. Children were not in the physical space. So that has kind of redesigned and made us revisit this entire journey of education at school level. And now, when we are back in the school system in physical spaces, the gap of 2 years is also adding to it,
Yeah.
and being into kind of things again will take a little time. And at each end, the patience has to be accorded. But while we are kind of settling in this phase of transition, yeah, we all feel burnt out. Yeah, we all do feel burnt out.
Absolutely, ma'am. Very beautifully mentioned, what burnout is and how what causes it. So recently, after the pandemic, there was a survey that told, many educators were like they were telling that the students after the pandemic have, forgotten how to write, how to read. They're like very poor after the pandemic. So there's a lot of burden, uh, for the teachers as well.
Absolutely. And it's a very genuine concern. I would not say that we can get into blame game, but teachers are bearing the maximum brunt of it, and that is adding to the stress levels. Number two, as you rightly said, children have lost that touch of doing things in order. So children are not used to writing in the notebooks. Children are not used to the routine that school had always been assuming as a natural journey of learning. And those disruptions, till the time they come back on track again, I think we all have to learn to manage somehow.
Absolutely, ma'am. So students, were really scared of the physical exams. They were really enjoying the online thing. It has a lot of, its own pros and cons. So moving forward, ma'am, how can schools, help the educators and teachers to avoid the burnout?
Number one, extreme level of empathy is required from the school leaders, not just the school leaders, team leaders, every stakeholder. And that empathy has to be built not only within the campus, but even outside. Because teaching is a profession which is over a period of time losing its sheen because everyone has started taking it no more as a soft profession, but as a profession with extreme commitment. The bar has been raised much higher. The expectations of society from teachers as change makers is getting deeper
Yeah.
and, must I say, a lot more demanding. So, whatever imprints are left in minds of a child for future life, for present life, not only in the academic domain, but into the domain beyond school walls, the onus is on teachers.
Yeah.
Teachers have a lot larger role to play, especially with onset of national education policy of 2020, where a lot of integration has to be done. Just imagine, earlier a science teacher was teaching science, a math teacher was teaching math, but now a math teacher has to be a painter, an artist, a performer. A language teacher has to know so much about science to be able to make child develop writing skills of science. So all those integration of various domains into the learning through the content has become a massive challenge.
Yeah.
And that's adding to the burnout of teachers. And I must fully admit and acknowledge that unless we come out with certain de-stressing mechanisms, this profession might, I dread at times, may lose the sheen much faster. And that is why I must compliment that you've chosen, Meg, this topic,
Yeah.
which is of extreme importance for all educators. And unless and until we start resonating on same platform, I think the repercussions are going to be in another direction, which we may not really be able to envisage at the moment. And for that, I fully feel the need that teachers must be given spaces to bloom.
Yeah.
Expect a teacher to do integration of art in a particular subject or theater in education, theater in the classroom. Let's say if I'm teaching a topic of social science, I love teaching any topic in the classroom from the content that's been available to me or has been provided through either the books or through net or through any smart class situation. But to be able to integrate all the pedagogies and do it, and again, the biggest challenge the teachers are facing nowadays is not really the ability, but the time management.
Yeah.
You know, everybody expects everything to be delivered within 35 to 45 minutes
Yeah.
in a given period of the classroom. And so much needs to be done. Then, challenge which is further adding to this problem is the number of students in the classroom. If I were doing fun with a handful of children, I would still be able to realize my goals, my targets. But moment I'm there with such diverse group of children where the needs are diverse, where their perceptions are of altogether different nature, these are the moments which add to the stresses of teachers, and that's where the empathy level has to be much higher. Number two, that is going to help us a lot is training programs. Number three, we have to create exemplars for the teachers to follow. Above all, they need to have smaller hubs. They need to have their own smaller communities
Yeah.
within their own department, interdepartment, the school, and with the neighborhood schools. But now the other dimension that's also becoming equally important is the global exposure.
Yeah.
The parent sets bar not only in the local perspective, because parents want their children to be global citizens. So the teachers have to keep aligned with the standards that are prevalent beyond the boundaries of nation also. So for that, it's very important that schools create platforms where they're interconnected with other people, their own contemporaries in different spaces. That's very, very important.
Absolutely, ma'am. So, thank you so much. That was, a very brief explain by you. So, moving forward, do you think that we do see that there are a lot of counseling and support groups for students in the schools and all? So, do you think there should be a counseling or support group for teachers in the campus, and how can, teachers help each other to avoid
Mehak,
this burnout? Yeah.
Mehak, see, there are counseling sessions not only from the school council, but there are people from different areas of expertise who come and talk to teachers to help them understand how they can do the management of these challenges. But must I say that best solutions lie through peer counseling? And as I said, they need their spaces to bloom. One of the initiatives that we have recently taken is that, when the day gets over, while the dispersal is happening and we are setting the timetable, we have started eating together.
Yeah.
When the school gets over, we make simple mono meal and all of us sit around the dining space where we get to talk to each other. And when we talk to each other, we find out that there's so many genuine concerns which could be addressed by mere ideas. So talking to each other, peer counseling, then as I said earlier also, which makes a lot more sense to me, is counseling is more of how you perceive the burden that causes the burnout. And for that, certain new techniques are available, and that exposure to those techniques is very, very important in this situation. And that automatically means some budgeting and funding
Yeah.
has to be done for these expert interventions which teachers need. If we want to move to raising a millennial child, we need to create millennial teachers. And for that, it's very important that we have a millennial outlook at school level.
Yeah.
And create that millennial outlook, we cannot do it from the confines of the schools. We need to go outside the schools. We need to go out of the boundaries of the school and bring the world in our classrooms and within our own campus.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much, Sangeeta ma'am, for being here. And as they say, there's nothing that can't be fixed over a cup of tea. That meal sharing thing, that is really a good initiative by you. So, do you think there should be any, self-care strategies also that should be introduced to the teachers and so that they can help out each other?
Meg, I'd just like to point out only last week when we were sitting together
Yeah.
and we decided all of us that how our visual presence is before the child or before each other
Yeah.
makes a long lasting impression. So we all decided amongst ourselves that we'll always wear a big smile no matter what, and that makes us look more beautiful to our children,
Yeah.
and that's how children are going to remember us. So self-care is extremely important. So we all take care that we always walk in with smile on our faces, and that definitely. And then also, I agree with you that when we used to perceive image of a teacher, it was a sari clad woman like me with spectacles and sari, and
Yeah.
maybe you had long hair, maybe a bun behind your back. But now the millennial teacher carries that aura,
Yeah.
the aura of a confident person that you are when you walk in the classroom. If and that aura is not just in physical attributes that I mean, It also means that we are well prepared, we are well exposed. We not only confine to what is the area of expertise we carry in the classrooms, but how connected are we with the rest of the world in terms of our understanding of general affairs, current affairs, what's happening in my immediate surroundings, beyond my immediate surroundings. And once all that comes in the classroom along with me, and my most important thing is that if it is under pressure, if it's guided by others, the joy is taken out. It becomes meaningful, it becomes relevant only when everyone, the learner in teacher, the learner in the system, the learner that's the beneficiary, when they are all looking forward to with same outlook, that's when it makes it a lot more meaningful. And you rightly said that preparedness is very important in terms of self-care. And self-care is not just physical, but it's also how I'm reading, how I'm learning, how I'm exposing myself, and how am I bringing that exposure for the benefit of others. Nothing, everything starts with self. If the self is happy, everyone's going to be happy. If self is not happy, no one around you is ever going to be happy. So, yes, self care is extremely important. And self love, must I say, self appreciation is as
Yeah.
important.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much, Sangeeta ma'am, for being here. It was, a very wonderful session with you. I hope you too did enjoy the session.
Absolutely. And I wish together with this endeavor of NTAB, again, I compliment you because we do talk about so many ways to improve the system. But very few I've seen focus on the burnout that's coming along with all the changes that are being envisaged. And for taking this up, my personal gratitude and compliments to NTAB for being, shall I say, the front runners in this direction. And if together we can make a difference, even if it's minuscule, it's every bit worth it. God bless you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, ma'am. And for all the viewers watching us out, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stuff like this. Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day.
You too, man. God bless. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.